Hansberry is hugely important for having written A Raisin in the Sun, the most celebrated play by an African-American author, considered one of the great plays of the 20th century.
Welcome back. You're watching the trailer for a film being screened tonight for Women's History Month at the August Wilson Center called Sighted Eyes, Feeling Heart. It features playwright and activist Lorraine Hansberry, and the trailer says if you only know Lorraine Hansberry for writing A Raisin in the Sun, you don't know Lorraine Hansberry. Here to tell us more about her and tonight's special event is Terri Bell with the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's such a beautiful tribute. I mean, I just watched the trailer for this and it's just stunning. But for people who don't know who Lorraine Hansberry is or don't know much more than A Raisin in the Sun, who was she? What did she do?
Oh my gosh, Lorraine Hansberry, and like the trailer said, and you know, I found that that was me, that if you don't know Lorraine Hansberry beyond A Raisin in the Sun, then you really don't know her. And in exploring her life a little bit and actually seeing the film myself, she was an activist. She was an outspoken trailblazer at the height of the civil rights movement. She was a women's advocate. So it was extremely fitting to have this film screening in celebration of Women's History Month for the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust.
And she was pushing issues before they were really issues, sexuality, things like that, equal rights of all kinds, not just women's rights, but for race, sexuality, equality, all of those things. I mean, she really was doing so much.
She really was. She was far ahead of her time. And we lost her voice far too early. But, you know, if you look at what she was talking about and what she was standing for in terms of our political climate today, the Me Too women's movement, it's as relevant today as it was then.
And so who was featured in the film?
Sidney Poitier, Ruby Dee, Harry Belafonte, Mary Baraka, many colleagues, friends, family, and other people that were in the film.
So you really
Louis
get an
Gossett.
Inside look at who she was.
You get a real intimate portrait from people who worked with her on a, you know, professional level and people who knew her personally. It's a really good portrait of an amazing woman in American history.
I think in part of the trailer it said something like, you know, she was supposed to be a middle-class African-American woman, and here she was a rebel.
She didn't know how to stay in her place, and thank goodness that she didn't. But she had activist parents as well. Her father won a landmark case against housing discrimination, and her mother was a school teacher, so she had those kinds of examples in her life from a very early age.
Yeah, and so there's going to be a panelist, a discussion after the screening tonight. Who will be part of that?
Well, we have three panelists. We have Chiz Schultz, who is the executive producer of the film. We're excited to have him. He's worked with Norman Jewison, Spike Lee, and Sidney Poitier and others, and two-time Emmy Award winner, nominee. We also have Kayleen Sinette Jennings, who is a professor of theater at American University and a playwright herself. And we also have Joy Gresham, who is the director and trustee of the Lorraine Hansberry Literary Trust. She oversees the licensing of her work and other intellectual properties. And
Kayleen will be part of a workshop tomorrow.
She will, and also the moderator is Minette Seat from WQED, senior producer, so it's a great panel. You'll get a lot of insight, and Kayleen is going to lead the workshop and for us tomorrow, the following day.
And what is that workshop?
The workshop is celebrating women and diversity in theater, and it's for all levels of writers, professional, beginners, and people are encouraged, like Lorraine Hansberry, to bring personal photos and tell their story and share monologues and their writings.
That's great. And we should not leave out either that there's going to be a reception after the screening tonight.
There's going to be a reception after the screening, and there'll be hors d'oeuvres. There'll be an all-women's jazz trio.
Cool.
We've had all women, with the exception of Chiz, the only male panelist. It's an all-women production tonight, so we're really excited about that.
Well, thanks for coming on today and
Thanks
telling us a little bit more about it.
Thank you.
And you can celebrate Women's History Month tonight at the screening of Lorraine Hansberry, Sighted Eyes, Feeling Heart, presented by the Pittsburgh Cultural Trust. It's playing at the August Wilson Center at 7 o'clock, followed by a discussion and reception. Find out more about tonight's event and tomorrow's workshop at kdka.com/PTL.